Fed decision coming up in just a couple of days. Most markets are in high anticipation of what Jerome Powell is going to say, but markets are already pricing in a 98% chance that there will be no change. So that is a very good thing for markets, because right now, as we look at the Bitcoin chart, we look at the current throwback off of resistance, a very technical move, a normal one. We are just waiting. All we're waiting for right now in the short to midterm is the narrative pivot, the bullish narrative pivot, whether that be Jerome Powell when he finally caves and starts lowering interest rates, or the trade deals. I want to talk about all of these things, and right now how Bitcoin is just waiting. Even the choppiness of it all, there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets, I get it, but the choppiness of it all is very important consolidation for the next bull move. So hit the subscribe, hit the like, and let's just jump into this. I want to start here. We just talked about the Fed decision in May. It's probably going to be choppy going into that, but I wanted to bring up, even tomorrow, Besant will be on CNBC at 11. Trade deals going well. Announcement on deal coming soon. We're negotiating with 500 countries. The reason I'm bringing that up is because I think once Jerome Powell speaks on Wednesday, I think markets will take a sigh of relief and potentially go higher. But what is going to transpire tomorrow in terms of Besant talking? The reason why I'm looking at that is just because I saw this. This was back in April, the end of April. The S&P 500 does better when Besant is mentioned compared to Lutnick or Navarro per Sherwood. And you can just see here, S&P kind of seeing green returns when Besant is out there in the headline. So that could be something on the short term to monitor. And the reason I'm monitoring all of this is because what's happening from a technical analysis price perspective for Bitcoin. So let's discuss and let's just jump into the analysis of Bitcoin. This is not going to be a terribly long video, but I wanted to do an update as we start this week for all crypto holders. So let me just start with this clip from 11 days ago. Check this out. And similarly, these throwbacks happen. So I'm going to anticipate from right now up into this range, whether it's 95,000, maybe Bitcoin really starts pumping to 100,000. If we get rejected, I'm going to anticipate a throwback somewhere to these moving averages. So here we are. We're getting rejected. It's been a few days of rejection right there at the 618 lower end of the Fibonacci range, that green range of resistance. How many times over the years we see a swing high to swing low, we get a nice little just move to the resistance, to that pullback area, and then boom, we start getting rejected. So right now, what I'm eyeing on, I know the 200-day moving average on Bitcoin is right here. And then I want to take a glance at the weekly chart, by the way. There's something very important to discuss there. But I know this 200-week moving average is around 90,300. But the area of interest for me, no matter what the separation between the two looks like, is always these two. It's that 20 and 50. So for me, I'm just eyeing up that entire range, 91,000, right around 92,000 at the 20-day. And the 50 days around 86, 87,000. This is the area where I could just see Bitcoin moving down to, whether it's today and tomorrow and Wednesday, I don't know. But really, what's happening with the Fed decision on Wednesday really sets up a move like this. We see how markets get crazy, emotional in the short term. They react negatively. We could see Bitcoin retrace into these areas, falling back into the 80s, whether there's a meeting with the Fed on Wednesday or not, is a normal move. So that's all I'm watching right now. Right now, we're trying to exit a multi-month downside for Bitcoin. And we already know, analyzing Bitcoin and crypto markets for years, when we have multi-month downside, it's choppy getting out of those waters, right? So it's going to be choppy getting out of the waters. It's just normal. So there's our support at the moving averages down here. I just wanted to talk about another area in case fear extends, even further past these couple headlines that we're talking about, maybe other fear headlines, or Jerome Powell says something absolutely terrible and markets are just not having it. The real fail-safe support for Bitcoin is 83,000 to 79,000. It's very simply a swing low to swing high now at this resistance that we just saw. And if Bitcoin's going to put in a higher low from the capitulation in the high fear environment in early April, that would be the higher low range. So these are just technical moves. But all in all, when we're zoomed out on Bitcoin, they're necessary. They're important moves. These are moves that we see often, right? You can even just go back here, swing low right here in September to swing high. Looks like we're getting an exit, right? And then all of a sudden, Bitcoin's coming to test almost into that range of the higher low Fibonacci back there. So consolidation is key. It's important. I'm personally just waiting for all these narratives to start pivoting more in a bullish direction, because that could be the moment where Bitcoin says, you know what? I'm done consolidating with the higher highs and higher lows, and it is time for the move to the all-time highs. Going to the weekly chart, I wanted to mention this because it is important. It's a very nice illustration of where we are in the macro, and we kind of talked about this. Even in this multi-month consolidation back here, Bitcoin broke the 20-week moving average, very important area, but then that next week was a red candle, volatile, even below the 20-week moving average. You see that candle going down to 59,000. And then the next week too, very volatile below the 20-week moving average. But ultimately, you can just see Bitcoin finally consolidating at the 20-week and then really getting that separation. We're looking for separation now. It just might not come this week. We have to evaluate all these support areas that we just discussed on the short term. If you look at the RSI, one thing to keep an eye on is, yes, we broke this trend line we've talked a lot about, but even look at Bitcoin testing this moving average line as that was happening in that last consolidation. So right now, we might need to test this moving average line on the weekly RSI. These moves, everybody, I can't say this enough because this is how I mentally prepare. These moves of consolidation, they just happen so often. We get oftentimes, and I know I've been using this area as an area of example, but before big moves to the upside, just remember, we often get big moves to the downside. These unknown, just, this is not looking good moves before boom, right? And this is a very good example back here. Or even back here, look at this. We have like a month of just red candles, and then all of a sudden, it was time to make the move to the upside. We have to allow these things to play out, no matter what part of a cycle we are in. I'll end with this. I know there's a lot of people that are kind of like, man, we're entering a 2022 style bull market or bear market. I just want to continue to say, this is just my opinion. I could be way wrong. The factors that are playing into markets right now, the environment in which we are is so different than back here when quantitative tightening was just about starting. Quantitative tightening, we're waiting to start slowing down and come to an end. Monetary cycle pivot, everything happening that is pro-crypto right now, we're just in a different season, everybody. I'm not going to, maybe that's a good idea for a full-length video, but as we evaluate the short-term moves of Bitcoin right now, I just want to bring those things up. You know what? Higher low is in play across the board. We saw the ranges. We saw the targets. To the upside, I should say, I should end with this actually. If Bitcoin in the coming days even starts making a move and we don't even get to these targets that I just talked about to the downside, if we start testing this range again, just please keep an eye on around $96,000 to $101,000. It's a very big area. So these are my thoughts on the short-term price analysis of Bitcoin, but we have a lot to watch this week, and it's going to be a little bit unknown in the coming days, but we can just anticipate everything, and we'll see what happens. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I appreciate you out there. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting that like button. Your support, it means a lot to me. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.